Do you feel like you grew up in a broken home?
The first day of filming Parent Trap in LA, my dad came to see me.
I love to act. I mean, when I grow up, I want to be like Jodie Foster and go to a good college and act and direct.
And then 2 feds walked in and cuffed him and put him in the car. When I was doing Freaky Friday, that was a time when I kind of made the decision when I started staying at the Four Seasons. And Dad actually was then back and walked into his room, and he was doing drugs with this guy, and I just freaked out.
You moved to California at 18 years old, and you're making millions of dollars, and you were surrounded by other people who don't necessarily have your best interest, and you had nobody to guide you.
And now to the latest trouble for star Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan turned herself into LA police Thursday to face charges of driving under the influence. This is in connection with the Memorial Day weekend hit-and-run crash that sent her into rehab. Police say Lohan and 2 other adults were in her 2005 Mercedes when she lost control and crashed into a curb and shrubs on Sunset Boulevard. According to police, Lohan got into a second car and left the scene.
Court records show that 3 men sued the Mean Girls star last week. They claim that she commandeered an SUV belonging to one of the men to chase her recently fired assistant.
She was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Also in her pocket was a small amount of cocaine, so she was also charged with possession of a controlled substance.
Lindsay stood before a judge and pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges. The sentence? 1 day in jail, 10 days of community service, and 3 years of probation. She'd been caught. She'd been punished. For most people, that's rock bottom. But for Lindsay, it was just the beginning. Over the next couple of years, Lindsay failed to meet the terms of her sentence. And on the day that mattered most, the day that could decide her future, she didn't even show.
Why do you think it would be more important to party in Cannes than go to your hearing?
I wasn't partying in Cannes. I was there for work.
Are you scared you will go to prison?
I don't see why I would have to go to prison, and the only person that's ever suggested anything like that is my father.
A lot of people blame you, the parents, for what's happened to Lindsay. What do you say to that?
Justifiably, no doubt, 100%. Dina and I are responsible.
Lindsay's parents were far from stable. Her father was in and out of jail. Her mother blurred the line between parent and party friend. And their toxic relationship played out in the tabloids for the world to see.
Dina's accused Michael of cheating and abuse, even raping her while the children slept.
I have police reports, I have hospital records, I have pictures of, the black eyes.
He denies that, says she has unresolved issues with alcohol and is an unfit mom.
Lindsay said mommy's been doing cocaine, she's acting like the devil.
Digging up old wounds for anyone is difficult, and we did get divorced for a reason.
Unable to rely on her parents, Lindsay found herself alone in LA with no one to turn to.
Lindsay Lohan has been hospitalized.
This is not Lohan's first hospitalization, and she told Billy of her 2004 hospital stay that asthma was only part of the problem.
I was tired. I was having a bunch of asthma attacks that led up to that. And there was just, I was going through a time when I was just overscheduling myself and not taking the time for myself. And instead of resting sometimes, I would want to go out and hang out with my friends and go to a club, which probably wasn't the best thing to do.
She did admit that she has done drugs, but when we really got into talking about specifics, she became extremely rattled about it. It's obviously a very touchy subject for her.
Lindsay tried to hold it together, showing up, smiling, and pushing through. But behind the scenes, she was unraveling. And there was one person who understood exactly what she was going through.
And there's Jamie.
Hi, Nancy Lohan.
You're the young Jedi, Lindsay. And you're my Padawan learner, and I'm the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the movie. I will teach you all your lessons that the Jedi leader, or whatever his name. What are you talking? You don't have to teach you things. You're young, inexperienced.
She's a lot like me in a lot of ways, so it's kind of scary.
Really?
So when we do play each other, it's not as hard as you would think it is because we're so similar in so many ways.
But little did Lindsay know, she would end up like Jamie in ways she never expected.
I had been nursing a secret Vicodin addiction for a very long time, over 10 years. I was in a good, stable marriage, writing books for children that were bestsellers. I was getting more and more work and more fame and attention and adulation, even though I was fabulous. You're in a prison of your own mind. A Brazilian healer woman, she had been staying with us. And I was in my kitchen, and I had a pocket full of Vicodin. I had a glass of wine on the counter, and I pocketed 5 of them, put them in my mouth, took a swig of wine, and from behind me, I heard this. Jamie, I see you. I see you with your little pills, and you think you're so fabulous and so great, but the truth is you're dead.
Jamie knew the struggles Lindsay was going through, but Lindsay's prison wasn't just in her head. When she finally arrived back in America after missing her court date, the consequences were waiting.
30 days in jail on the reckless driving case, 30 days in jail on the first DUI case consecutive, and 30 days in jail on the second DUI case consecutive. That's 90 days in jail. Within 2 days of her release from jail, she's ordered to report to probation, and she's ordered to do a 90-day inpatient substance abuse program. I also want the doctor to interview her and determine if drinking alcohol and the prescription drug medications she's taking will cause her injury and compromise her health and safety.
2 weeks later, Lindsay found herself in handcuffs being processed into prison. She was sentenced to 90 days, but walked out after just 14. She had been exposed, raw and unraveling for the world to see. There was no comeback, no new roles, no fresh start. So Lindsay packed up her life and disappeared. As the world moved on from Lindsay, Jamie stepped forward with her own story.
I went to a friend of mine, and we both had kids the same age, and finally, was able to say that I had a problem with Vicodin. And she looked at me and said, "Yeah, I know, me too. Isn't it amazing?" That night, I had a moment of clarity which saved my life, which is simply this. I imagined that she would die, and I would attend her funeral, and I would hug her children, and I would have blood on my hands. Or I would die, and she would attend my funeral, and she would hug my children with blood on her hands. And in that moment, I understood that it was going to kill me. I was terrified about being a public figure and walking into recovery centers and being around recovery.
I talk to people all day long about addiction, because if it's a secret, it will kill you. If it's not a secret, you may be able to save your own life.
I'm sober today. Am I going to be sober for the rest of my life? I hope so. I'm going to do everything I can to be. But I'm saying I am an addict. I'm in recovery. I'm not recovered, never will be, but I am working on it.
So what would you tell yourself before you had embarked on the process of sobriety?
You know what? The truth of the matter is, nobody is ready until they're ready. Nobody can hear things until they're ready to hear them.
After years of hiding from Hollywood, Lindsay finally came back into the spotlight, with Jamie once again by her side.
I'm most impressed she moved to Dubai by herself for 5 years. Right. I kept thinking she had met her husband there, and I said, "Oh, did your husband take you to Dubai?" And she said, "No, I went there on my own. I needed to get out of New York. I'd been there for work." She did humanitarian work there. That to me made me go, "Oh, I get it." Yeah. She needed to find her.
Yeah.
Like she had to step out of it until she realized she missed it. And now she's back with a vengeance.
Although Lindsay no longer speaks publicly about her recovery journey, one thing is clear. She finally has the right person in her corner.
I would like to say I'm a solid person, and we have been intimate with each other. What we've shared, the personal stuff, like, who do you go to with that stuff? And particularly for a young woman, I would hope she would come to her movie mom and say, hey, this is happening, or what do you think I should, this is what I'm thinking. And then I'm not gonna give her advice, but I'm certainly gonna listen, and that's just friendship. We all would like to go back to our 15-year-old selves and give ourselves a hug and say it's gonna be okay. You're beautiful, you're gonna have a happy life. Everybody walked through glass, broken glass and fire in their adolescence. It's the process of human evolution. It's a difficult time. And so the message I would give you, me, and anybody who's watching this anywhere in the world is you're gonna be okay.